Hey guys, it is April 1st, but no April Fool's video here. We're going to go through my estimates for Q1 earnings. Now that the first quarter for the industry is done, we have the numbers here from Box Office Mojo, about 1.6 billion for the months January through March. That is about actually 100 million more than I was expecting. So although 1.6 billion is not a great number, it is higher than I was anticipating at the beginning of this year. And we know from listening to the earnings calls of IMAX, Cinemark, and AMC that all of them said, due to the actors and writers strike, that there was going to be a period of slow box office in the beginning of this year. So now let's take the financial modeling spreadsheet that I created and see how that box office translates into some numbers that we can expect to see in May when AMC reports Q1 earnings. And we will also talk about my expectations for the upcoming Q2 box office, April, May, and June. Before we get into the numbers, let's just look at the chart real quick. AMC closed today, Monday, April 1st, at $3.14, down another 15.5% after the drop we had on Thursday of last week, after AMC announced that they were going to be raising $250 million in cash to offset the cash burn in Q1. For more of my thoughts on that dilution, take a look at the AMC Aftermath video that I put out over this weekend. Regarding that dilution, it should come in somewhere probably around 70 to 80 million shares. We'll find out when they announce that it is done. I do think that we will be testing the $3 level this week, maybe even tomorrow. We could even go below that. It just depends on how quick AMC is motivated to sell these shares in their at-the-market offering. We know that Q1 was rough. Let's talk about Q2 real quick because the news is a little bit better. I had been projecting a pretty low number for Q2, but I went through and got all of the industry analysts' estimates for the wide release movies in Q2, the movies that are coming out in April, May, and June. And I put them in a little slide here for you guys to look at. And keep in mind, I'm not counting any of the limited releases. They're smaller footprint in terms of what theaters they're going to be released to. So I don't count those. I just try and add up all of the big movies and then come up with a rough estimate of what Q2 is going to look like. And I'm also including the tail end of some of the Q1 movies. Dune 2, although it's winding down, I think, this week. But we'll get a little bit of extra Q2 bump from Dune 2, Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire, Kung Fu Panda 4, and Godzilla. So I'm not counting these numbers in yellow in the number down below. If I take all of the wide releases from April, May, and June, and there are some good ones. We got Monkey Man, First Omen, Civil War, Abigail, a horror movie, Unsung Hero, Challengers with Zendaya. We got The Fall Guy with Ryan Gosling, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. That is going to be a big one in May. If, in May 17th, Back to Black, May 17th also. The Garfield movie, Furiosa, Bad Boys Ride or Die, The Crow, Inside Out 2 is expected to be the biggest movie of Q2, and that one will trail on to Q3 as well. And at the very end of Q2, the last weekend, we have A Quiet Place Day 1 also coming out. So the total number comes to 1.8 billion just on the wide releases. We add in all of the limited releases plus the tail end of those movies like Godzilla and Ghostbusters. I think it is a safe bet that we can estimate roughly $2.3 billion domestic box office upcoming for Q2. Now take that 2.3 billion number with a grain of salt because we are in day one of an entire quarter, and this is just my best guess right now. We will watch that every single month and see how it progresses. And keep in mind, April is going to be the slowest month of the quarter. Things start getting busier around May and into June. Now let's get to the main feature of this video. Let's talk about my estimate for earnings for Q1, and we should find out that number from AMC in early May. This spreadsheet uses historical data from previous AMC financial statements, previous quarters, previous years, and I use formulas and calculations to extrapolate out expectations for the upcoming quarterly results with a usually pretty high degree of accuracy. Here at the top of the spreadsheet up here in the green box, I have put in the domestic box office for Q1, 1.6 billion. The yellow box is what percentage of that translates down to AMC admissions revenue. And if we look at this entire row here, you can see that it varies from quarter to quarter, generally between 31 and 33%. So I'm going to err on the conservative side of that and say 31% for Q1. That gives us 499 million in admissions revenue plus food and beverage and other, giving AMC a total revenue for the quarter of 882 million, minus the costs for film exhibition, food and beverage, and operating expenses and rent. Cost of revenue 871 million, gross profit $10 million. From that gross profit though of $10 million, we still have other costs that we need to subtract. There is a bucket called other. There is depreciation and amortization, giving us a operating loss of $130 million. Then we have other expenses that we need to still subtract, including the corporate borrowings, the interest on the company debt, in the range of $93 million. And there is one little bonus that I get to add back in. If you read the 10K at the bottom in the subsequent events, AMC had a lawsuit apparently with a vendor. AMC went after them and won a $37 million settlement. And they said that that income minus any legal fees would be added to Q1. So I'm just rough spitballing here, saying that we can add in $30 million extra income for Q1 due to that. It's just a guess. Bottom line, $205 million is going to be the net loss for AMC for Q1, give or take. Now, what happens if AMC captured a little bit more than 31% of the box office? Well, we can play with the numbers just by changing it up here. If they captured a little bit more of the market, then the number for net loss improves to about $190 million. We think that the outstanding shares is somewhere around 262 million. So that would give us a earnings per share down here at the bottom of minus 73 cents to a range of minus 78 cents. So there you have it. That is my forecast for AMC's net loss for the quarter and earnings per share for Q1. This quarter, I've also been doing some estimates and calculations in advance on the cash burn, which was why last week I started getting really worried that we had an impending dilution notice coming, seeing from my spreadsheet that the cash burn could be as high as $240 to $250 million for Q1. I did after that find that footnote about the $37 million settlement. So that actually improved the cash burn number because that's money coming in, if I am correct, that it's going to be around $30 million. So I have free cash flow at about negative $184 million and net cash flow also at negative $184 million for the quarter. If you wanted to see what I was looking at last week, where I did not include that $37 million settlement, let me just zero this number out here at the top. And you can see how that dramatically affects the negative free cash flow for Q1. So I hope that I am correct, estimating that AMC will receive about $30 million from that vendor settlement. At any rate, whether it's a cash burn of $188 million or $240 million, that is a substantial cash burn, considering that their existing cash position was only $880 million, and that needs to last well into 2025. Plus, we don't know what is going on right now in the ongoing negotiations with the lenders on the debt restructuring. Perhaps the lenders told them, hey, we will cut you a deal, but you're going to have to bite the bullet, AMC, right now and get more liquidity on the balance sheet. So before you prejudge the dilution that's going on right now, I know it sucks. I know. But we don't know everything that's going on behind the scenes and what reason they had to do that, other than they're worried about liquidity and they just wanted to knock it out and get it out of the way now, or it could potentially have something to do with the debt restructuring, some requirements from the lenders, or it could be both. I want to take a moment as we wrap up to point out a couple of videos I did for you guys about 1 year ago and ask you to please go watch them. The first one is called Trust No CEO. A lot of people think I'm an Adam Aaron fanboy. I don't care about any CEO. I don't care about Adam Aaron, and I don't care about Ryan Cohen or any of them. I try to think like they think so I can predict what they're going to do. So I want you to go watch that video, Trust No CEO. Learn how to think like one. The other video is called the CEO Handbook, and that may also give you some insights on things that you can expect to happen if you're long-term holding a play in a non-profitable company. I'll put the links right up here, and I will also put the links in the video description, and I will ask you to please go watch them. I think you will enjoy it and you will learn something. If you have any questions or comments, please drop them down below. I am Tony Denaro, and I will see you on the next video.